We're going to launch a community in 2025.
In this episode, we're going to talk about HubSpot's greatest hits of 2024, from lead scoring to Breeze AI.
I see AI and automation being used down two paths. One's bad, one's good.
The pursuit of excellence is less profitable than the pursuit of bigness, but it can be more satisfying.
We're going to talk about our favorite releases from 2024. Some of them are new and exciting, like AI-related stuff, and others are back to basics, getting stuff done, being more productive.
Hi everyone, welcome to HubShots episode 310. In this episode, we're going to talk about HubSpot's greatest hits of 2024, from lead scoring to Breeze AI. So, Craig, what is our thought of the week?
Let's jump into it, and I'll just start this episode by saying, apologies, listeners. We actually had a mistake with our HubShots Framework doc, and just along the way, we'd ended up having a link that just was to our April 2024 version. So if you've downloaded it in the last couple of months, you got an old version. I'm so sorry. We've updated it now because we've been regularly updating it like every couple of weeks with new stuff. Get the latest one. It'll be dated early December 2024 at the end of it. And there's a link in the show notes to get it. So sorry about that, but the latest is there with lots of good stuff added.
And really,
moving on.
Yeah, and our growth thought of the week, and Craig and myself were talking about this, is there is no hiding when you have HubSpot, right? And we see this because we look in many, many portals and we review people's portals. And what we tend to find is that because all the data is coming in, you get a good sense of how everything A is connected, but B, how everything's performing, right? Now, one of the things you probably will find, phone calls, if you don't use something like Aircall, you're not going to see that data in there. But if you've got all of your conversion tracking lined up, you'll start to see that. You'll start to see ads performing well. Which ads are costing you lots of money? Is all the contact information going to the right place? So I discovered with a new customer of ours, someone had created a full name field and then the first and last name, and then they were having to go and fill that out. And they kept complaining, we're not getting all the details. Where's the information going? So you get to see lots of these things that are happening and you get to understand people's frustrations, but you also get an opportunity to resolve it. What else are things that we find, Craig, when we'd say there's nowhere to hide?
Well, I totally agree. And I reckon there's a campaign here, Ian.
Absolutely.
HubSpot should run this. There's no hiding.
Yeah.
When you've got HubSpot. Who's it targeted at? Marketing managers who are working with external agencies.
Correct.
So we've just had this recently working with a client. They're working with an external Google Ads agency. That agency is saying, look, we're getting 1,000 conversions, 1,000 new contacts per month. We're looking in HubSpot. We're seeing about 600 come in per month, and we're trying to work out. And I was saying, hang on, we're not seeing this. What's going on? What are we missing? Is it something like... Anyway, it turns out they were double counting conversions. I don't think they were doing it deliberately or trying to mislead, but set up a number of different conversions or goals in Google Ads, and then they were somehow double counting in all conversions. And they're reporting that to the client. So, hey, HubSpot identified that. And what's interesting also about that is because it moves the problem, because first of all, it's like the conversion rate's low. From 1,000 new leads, why aren't you converting better? But your ROI... on cost per lead looks good, but cost per acquisition's bad. But then it's like, oh, okay, 1,000 to 600. Yeah, actually that was correct. HubSpot was correct. Well, the ROI is not as good, but actually the conversion rate improved. So it kind of just changed the focus of what to look at next. But this is it. I think they should be saying this to marketing managers. There's no hiding. HubSpot shows it all. It brings it. And the other thing is, once you've got all the ads integrated into HubSpot, not only can you report better, but you can push back better. So we're saying to this Google Ads agency, by the way, do you know we can push back any contact that had a deal that got to a certain stage? I can push that back as an audience. They're like, that's fantastic. I think these are the simple wins that people don't realize when you've got HubSpot.
I'll give you another example, Craig. We had a customer we worked with for a long time. They changed some of the stages in their deal pipeline and they made an earlier stage the closed one. And what happened, we were like, this is a bit odd. We run ads, it's showing like negative ROI. I'm like, that's not true. Like there's been deals going through the pipeline, only to discover that because we changed the pipeline stages that were closed won, people that had passed that had actually not changed their life cycle stage when the deal stage got changed. And so they had a
You were
deal.
using events. Were you using events, pushing back events?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so we went, oh, hang on, we don't need to go back. But these are kind of things that it just highlights to us. And I just want to tell people, don't be afraid to go back and look and just do a sanity check on your data. And this is for everybody. Like, pick a handful of deals every quarter, have a look, see their journey, see what's going on. You'll figure out, are we capturing all the data? Are we missing things? Are people's inboxes not connected correctly? Have connections dropped off? And you can actually rectify that and get better data and better insights. And really, that's the whole thing around not hiding here. Now, Craig, you talked about the age of connection.
This is something to ponder over the break. I've got this quite a big blog post brewing in my mind about this, and it's really thinking through AI and automation. And almost you could say AI and automation are almost the same thing, really, in terms of how we think of it in marketing and sales. But, a few years ago, HubSpot was talking about connection. Might have been 2 years ago at Inbound, the connected customer and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, kind of get the idea, but I see AI and automation being used down two paths. One's bad, one's good. And I guess the concern I'm seeing at the moment is people saying, oh, with AI, we can automate all this outbound sales activity. We can actually have AI calling people and talking to them and, qualifying. And I'm like, yeah, everyone hates that. At this age of connection, it's almost like, well, scalable pretend connection. It's not real connection. And so I'm just thinking about that and trying to think about how we advise our clients and how we embrace it ourselves. And there's a lot of good stuff from AI and automation. Let's think of a good example. Let's say you're calling a bank and they use AI and all these tools to fully prepare that customer service person to, when they talk with you, they've got all your details at hand and they almost know why you've called because AI has done all that for them. It's pulled it together. That's a great experience. But think of the other version of AI and automation, which is our IVR, and you go through all these calls, press this, now go here, now get transferred. And like both of them save costs, but only one of them gets a better customer experience. Go for that. So really, when it all boils down, it's the age of connection is really about, are you improving the customer experience as opposed to, are you saving money? And I think that's the trade-off. And I think there's a big opportunity for smaller businesses here. So I'm going to flesh this out. I just wanted to put it in people's minds because next episode or next year when we talk in depth about AI, we'll finally have our AI episode where we dive into it. I think this is it. It's about customer experience. Sure, be productive, be more efficient, all that kind of stuff, but it's actually about customer experience, and there's the opportunity. I'll leave you with that thought as we go into our holiday break.
Now, Craig, we want people to follow us on our personal channels. Is that right?
I think so. And so we've both listed all our personal channels. And if you've been following me, which some do, I'm actually posting a new HubSpot tip every day, every weekday. Been doing that for the last, month or two. So we're going to go through a bunch of them actually in this episode. But if you want more of those, please follow me and Ian on each of our social channels. And part of this is about personal brands. We're going to kind of build our personal brands, more on that next year because personal brands seem to get more trust. And what are you trusting us with? Your attention versus brand or company brands. And also we're building a bit of a community. More on that. Stick around to the end of the show to learn more about that. We've got this whole thing and you can actually join our wait list if that's for you. More on that at the end of the show. But we're going to quickly go through. We've probably got about 15, 16 items to go through, don't we, Ian? Where we're going to talk about our favorite releases from 2024. Some of them are new and exciting, like AI related stuff, and others are back to basics, getting stuff done, being more productive. I'm going to kick off, Ian, with my favorite release from the year, and then I'll hand over to you for yours. Mine is managing association labels in workflows. I think this has been, if I think about all our clients that we've worked with, this has been the one that's been used the most by a number of clients because what they can do is create contact-to-contact associations and manage that automatically in workflows with association labels. I'll give you the prime example, referral processes. One of your contacts, possibly a customer, refers someone else. They do it in a referral form. It's always been painful to handle that. Now they do it. That form can be submitted. You can use workflows to have not only the original contact, create another contact, which is associated by an association label. We've actually got an overview in our knowledge base. Pooja's written all that. You can get that link in the show notes. Really handy. It's been an unlock for a number of clients. It solved a big business problem, makes data much cleaner, more structured, and that's it. And so who would have thought being able to set association labels in workflows was so powerful and useful? Well, now we know. What's been your top tip from the year?
Craig, I struggled with this because there were so many, but I went with the quick filters on views and the views themselves. That, to me, has been one of the biggest unlocks this year with people. And I say this because the quick filtering actually gives you a massively improved ability to quickly access the data that's important to your business. So in the example that I have given here, because a lot of the team use an inquiry type to filter down what people are looking for. That's been really good because previously you'd had to do about 3 clicks and choose, and then whereas here you can do it very quickly. And so this has been a massive unlock. I just love creating views and these quick filters and then sharing with people because it speeds up operations massively and gives people the information at hand quickly.
I think that's a really good. Views they're becoming foundational, aren't you? And I guess back last episode we talked about it. Views, like, you know how we've said lists are kind of the building blocks?
Yes.
It's almost like views. Well, they're easier, they're quicker, they're not as powerful in terms of associated objects, but they really are good. And I just wonder if views are going to become almost an item that you can pull into other things. Like, you know, you can create reports based on lists. You can create a report based on a view.
Yeah.
But as people use views more and more, I wonder how that'll go. Anyway, exciting times ahead.
All right. Onto our quick shots of the week. And here are a few items that we were very interested in. And I did not even know this, Craig. So when I was reading what you put in is the right click on view columns to add and remove columns.
Just another good example of views just being more and more powerful. You can right click, you can add or remove columns. So I've got some screenshots there in the show notes. Get to using that. And these are the little reminders. All right, what do we got next in our marketing feature of the week?
List exclusions. So like we described earlier, we've got lists are the building blocks. And so this is an exclusion, but the ability to exclude these multiple contact lists at the same time, which made a massive, massive thing. And so I guess why we want to highlight this, previously you would have had to have separate blocks where you excluded lists in the criteria. Now you can do that on the settings tab and exclude those lists from all of the groups instead of doing it in each individual group. So this is a massive time saver again when we're talking about the building blocks of lists.
Totally agree. Next, new lead scoring tool. So this has been rolling out. You know what? Lead scoring is one of those things that a lot of people like to talk about and say, oh yeah, we're going to get lead scoring in place, and they never do, or they overcomplicate it. I think in some cases, yeah, it's actually quite good. And I think the lead scoring tool that they've been rolling out, I think most of it's live now, and certainly by the time you're listening to it. I'm just going to highlight one thing, which is negative scores. And I mean, you could always add negative points and things previously when it was a score field. I think they've done a good job with the new lead scoring tool in making that part of each of the groups. So I'm not going to go in detail through the new lead scoring tool. I think if people want to do lead scoring, they'll work it out with the lead scoring tool, but subtractions are there. So I think it's worth looking at the lead scoring tool. Have you used this, Ian? Or
yes,
what's your
I have
kind of
been
thoughts?
using it, but Craig, I wanted to highlight to people listening, like Craig's put a really simple example in here in terms of the lead scoring here, where he's talked about people, the lead score based on the type of email that they have. So like negative scoring free email addresses, their location, so where they're based. And there was one other one, which I can't see, Craig. So there were 3 things in there, and industry that they're in. So I think like that's a really simple one, which a lot of people can do already. Like you just think, like, especially if you're getting a lot of inquiries, what is that initial step that you can do that will help you score people in or out to have people, to have sales connect with them?
Yeah. Now, the big thing, or you might say, well, how is it any better than the old lead score, like a scoring property? And one of the things is you don't have to actually run this against all contacts. So you can exclude. So basically, you can set lead scores. You can create a bunch of different lead scores, by the way, and you can have them only get calculated for certain contacts, which I think's really nice rather than everyone having a score. And so then you can do things like if this score is known, okay, maybe they get used in lists, and then you can filter that way. So I think it's just one of those, it's incremental improvements, its own tool, it's easier to use. There's scores for fit as well as engagement. So, yeah.
All right. What's the HubSpot sales feature of the week, Craig?
More on lists, deal lists, which, by the way, deal lists I think only rolled out during the year.
Correct.
Love those. Haven't they just become part of normal practice? How quickly did we adopt that? It's like, oh, deal list. Oh, great. I'm using it all the time now. But one of the things that's slightly advanced is using associated objects.
Yes.
So this is something where lists are better than views in most cases, because you can create a list that is joined based on any associated object. So here's a simple example. Show me deals that have line items of a particular type. There you go. So it's associated. And there's plenty you can think about. That's just one example. What's the key takeaway here? Associations.
Correct.
As part of lists.
And I'll give you a real life example, Craig. We have a customer who is selling cycling trainers, and they get feeds from different stores because of the different locations that they sell in. And because it's all feeding into HubSpot, when we created these deal lists, we found out really quickly who didn't actually have the associated contacts. Or people that had, like the deal didn't actually get fulfilled. So it was really interesting, because what the system was telling us and what information we were seeing in HubSpot, we were going, okay, well, this is not quite right. Why is it not right? So it actually helps you resolve a lot of issues, data issues that you might be having pumping between systems. This is another good checkpoint to make sure that that's working correctly. All right, this is another good one. Setting default email addresses.
It's the little things, Ian, isn't it?
That's right. It is a little thing.
This is for portals where you've got a number of email addresses. For example, you've got a number of inboxes, maybe for different brands, and then you go into a ticket and you want to reply, and it's like, oh, is it replying from me? Oh, it always defaults to this other reply address, and now you can just edit it. Who knew? Something so simple. Just set your default address.
All right. Talk about this one, Craig. Sales report of clients by revenue by year.
Yeah, pretty common scenario. People are saying, look, I just want to report who are my best clients based on revenue and show me over the last 5 years. How do you do that? It's really simple. Just create a custom report and you use the pivot option to create a pivot table, and then you just set your criteria based on deal amounts or closed won deals. Maybe it's particular pipeline, could be multiple. And then the little tip is just you can sort those based on the company name. So I've got a screenshot in the show notes, which pretty much explains everything you need to know. But if that's still too complex, because I know custom reports is pretty new to some people, let me know, because I think this is real world scenarios we solve. I might just do some little videos on this kind of stuff. I think these are the common scenarios that people... By the way, this isn't new. You've been able to do pivot, I think, most of the year. I don't think pivot tables is brand new, but it's the basics. It's back to basics. It's just the stuff that unlocks.
But in saying that, Craig, I haven't seen many people using it. So,
right.
So well worth looking into that. All right. Our workflow feature, association labels in action, Craig. And you mentioned this as one of your big unlocks for 2024.
Yeah, I called this out at the top, but I just wanted to mention again before we move on to note actions in workflows. Yeah, association labels action, that's great. But the one I'm calling out is note actions. I think this is out of beta.
I think it might just be.
Yeah, but you basically in a workflow, you can create a note. What's the benefit of that? Well, it's good for marking an important action in time with a few details. So we've got an example, especially when you're talking with maybe third-party tools. We've got a workflow for deals one and creates a teamwork project, etc. We actually just create a note on the deal at that point so that people know. And so that's a very simple example. Rather than trawling through all the activity timeline to work out, oh, when did this happen, etc., etc. So, yep, create notes.
That is a very good and clever use, Craig. All right, what's our HubSpot CMS feature of the week? We're talking about accessibility in CMS Hub.
Yeah, so we build a lot of websites on HubSpot CMS, or what's it called now? HubSpot Content Hub.
Content Hub, yes.
But accessibility.
Yes.
I wouldn't say this is common, but where it's getting asked more. And this is when people need accessibility compliance. especially in government sites, but often in bigger business sites. It's like saying, does HubSpot support accessibility compliance? The answer is out of the box, no. HubSpot doesn't, and neither do any of the main themes in the marketplace that we could find. So what do? You likely use a third-party plugin. We've been using Accessibility. There's a bunch of others. And I've just got some links in the show notes about how we do it. It's very simple to use, set up, and even if you want to play with it, you can do that on one of our pages on the site just to see how it works. And it's great. It'll do the high contrast stuff. It'll remove colors and make them brighter, all that kind of stuff for accessibility, for vision impaired people, all that kind of stuff. So really useful. So why are we highlighting this? Because if you're like, oh, we've got to have accessibility, yep, it's easy to plug in.
All right, onto our HubSpot Service Hub item of the week. Understanding the last message and visitor property.
I'm going to get a bit geeky here, Ian.
And why is this important, Craig, to know the last message from the visitor and their receive date?
Here's the common scenario. We've got a ticket. I've sent something to the client. I think it's resolved. I'm going to mark it as closed. They reply, okay, we want that to reopen the ticket. But we only want it to do it under certain circumstances. Like, oh, okay, well, there is that tick box you can use in settings.
Yes, correct.
Oh, but that doesn't always work. So maybe you don't want to use that. So you turn that off. You want to have your own ticket pipeline. Okay, so there's two properties you can pull from. Last message from visitor, that's a true or false. That's normally what you'd use. Yep. If it's true, oh, okay, triggers the workflow, might reopen the ticket, might do something, might send a notification. That will sometimes fail. And here's the gotcha. And I'm pretty sure down the track, one of the listeners will go, I remember them talking about this really weird scenario on the show, and I couldn't work it out because I racked my head about this for a little while till we sorted it out. And it's because last message from visitor only seems to be set if the reply comes in via an inbox channel. And so what's happened? Someone on the ticket has replied to the customer, but not using one of the inbox emails. They've maybe replied from their own personal email or something else. So then when the customer replies, it comes back onto the ticket, but it doesn't come via the inbox conversation. And so it still says false. So it doesn't trigger the workflow. Are you following me, Ian? Or have I totally bamboozled you? It's a really weird case.
Yeah, I'm getting
there's another property called last message receive date.
Yeah.
That's the one you got to use.
Got it.
I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to over-explain it because listeners are probably going to sleep already with me explaining it. But this was a crucial gotcha for a massive client. Tickets just not getting triggered and missing stuff coming back from clients. And that's a terrible experience.
Yeah.
It's come back into a ticket, was there, didn't reopen the ticket.
Yeah.
There you go. Someone will send me an email to thank me for this, I'm sure.
All right, onto our Breeze item of the week. Now, if you're wondering what Breeze is, Breeze AI rolling out regular updates. And this is to do with enrichment. So when we first started using Breeze, you couldn't really tell what percentage of data can you actually enrich using Breeze AI. There is now a feature in the view. If you select a contact, you'll see this pop up, just like when you select things on the view. Under more, it'll say check enrichment coverage. So you can select multiple contacts. You can select one. And if you click check enrichment update, it'll actually show you what the coverage is and what properties are being enriched. So you can get a good sense of, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Now, Craig and myself were talking about this. And in some scenarios, it's worked really well for certain customers. And in other scenarios, it doesn't work really well. But this is a great way to understand, is it worth investing in this tool? For me to help people in the marketing and the sales team with data. And what's the next one, Craig? Summarizing, which is another one that we love.
I just think this is such a great tool. We've talked about it before. Summarize tool. It's hidden away. I actually reckon there should be a big button called Summarize. I think it's a bit more pronounced when you're in list view, but if you want to contact, you just summarize. It opens up the Copilot sidebar, gives you a summary. I think that's really good. It's really handy. Although I will say, often when you ask it further questions, it doesn't know. It loses context.
Yeah.
I think they'll improve that. So I really love the summarize start, but I just think sometimes it's still got a few things to still follow-up questions don't seem to be as accurate.
But it is a good place to start. And we're not just talking contacts or companies. We're talking tickets. and so on. So well
yeah, it's
worth
great on
using.
tickets, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And deals and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
All right, next for the admins that listen to us, and this is the HubSpot admin feature of the week, is merging properties. Now, previously, if you wanted to consolidate properties, you probably just disable them, or you created a new one, or you changed the name. But now we have the ability to merge properties, and it'll actually guide you through the process of doing the merge in there, which is fantastic.
It's really good for cleaning up those old legacy, too many options in a drop down, for example. Just keep in mind though, the one that you merge into, like you're keeping one and then you've got one that you're getting rid of because you're merging it into the one you're keeping. The one that you get rid of, if that's referenced in lists or workflows or things like that, you need to kind of go back and check those. Doesn't break the workflows, but if you've got a workflow triggering on that, it no longer exists, it's just never going to fire.
Correct.
So it doesn't sort that out for you. It's not like it says, oh, that previously was here. I'll trigger the workflow on this one you've merged it into. Doesn't do that.
Yes.
And you wouldn't want it to either. So, yeah. But anyway, you can easily find those using the used in section.
And that's right. I just want to highlight something, Craig. I think this whole new property experience has been really good.
Yeah, agreed.
In terms of understanding where properties are used, how they're being used, and just being able to manage them better. I think it's been a big unlock as well when it comes to data management, because more and more we're finding people that have been on HubSpot a while are now thinking, oh, I've had a few people go through the business, a few people manage this. Things are out of control. How do I actually know what's working and what's not? And what is all of this data redundancy that I have inside HubSpot? So I think this is one of those things where just keeps getting better day by day, but also helps you know how everything's related. All right. Tell us about new email permissions, Craig. I think this is
from a while
relatively
back.
new. It's in beta.
Yeah, look, you can just set permissions on email. These are the one-to-one emails, CRM emails that appear, say, on a contact, let's say, or a deal. You can actually set permissions on those. I think that's good because it's like, oh, should I see all the communication on this contact or only mine or only in the team? And by the way, speaking of permissions, can get a bit tricky. The notes permission, you can have a look at that. We had a link to that years ago. Still confuses people.
And I want to highlight, when we're talking about permissions, HubSpot has become very granular with permissions over the year. And I think what is actually worthwhile is especially if you have enterprise hub, is to set up your preset and your is it the presets?
Permission sets
and permission sets.
Yeah.
It'll save you a lot of time when it comes to managing these things, because you'll find often when things like this happen and new people get given access to HubSpot, you'll get one person sitting next to them, like let's say their team leader, and they'll say, oh, I can see these emails. Oh, I can't see these notes. But he can see everything. And I'm like, hang on, you should have the same permissions, but they actually don't because of these new permission rollouts. So just be aware of that as you're doing things, that there might be these discrepancies, but it's a good place to actually go through and review everything. All right, onto our app of the week, Craig, and CloneNer. Tell me about CloneNer.
I actually had a chat with John at CloneNer. So this is a third-party tool. It's in the marketplace for cloning objects. So key one might be cloning a deal. There's a bunch of these that have been available for a while. I don't think this is particularly new, or it's getting a lot more popular. I just think each episode we might call out something like this that is handy. And this one, you can clone objects, for example, deals. Here's a common scenario. You've got a deal, it gets closed one. You want to create a recurring deal for a year's time or something like that. Just use one of these. Now, you can use workflow actions, but this kind of gives you a bit more advanced functionality. You can do it straight from actually manually, straight on the deal in the right-hand panel, which is, saves you creating workflow or saves you manually copying, but you can do it from workflows as well. They've got a bunch of things. So I'm just calling it out. I think it will work for a number of our clients. And so just something for people to check out if they're interested. I had a good call with John, who's kind of a part of the key team. Yeah, good guy. Looks good.
All right. Onto our thought of the week. Panadol versus vitamins, Craig.
How many times have you heard this cliche, Ian?
A lot.
Yeah. Here's the mistake I think most people make. They kind of say, oh, should you fix short-term pain? That's the Panadol, or aspirin for I don't know if Panadol, that might be an Australian brand, but aspirin? Or should you go for long-term growth? As in, what product should you offer to the market? And it's hilarious. I've even seen people analyze the size of the vitamin market and supplements versus the pain. I'm like, seriously? Like, one of them's bigger. You should go, there's people sell more supplements. So you should be that kind of business that sells. Anyway, it's just ridiculous. Here's the thing. This is not a product niching topic. This is a time frame topic. This is what you've got to think about. It's a time frame discussion because most businesses have both. And you can offer both. Most consulting businesses offer both. We do. We offer a short-term pain fix and we offer a longer-term transformation product.
Correct.
But here's the thing. Where's the client at? And what's the time frame that they're talking to you about? Because if they don't know you, haven't worked with you before, they're probably not talking big long-term transformation. They're like, I want to trust you first, so let's solve a short-term pain. So that's all I want to say. The whole Panadol versus vitamins, it's actually time frame. Do they trust you yet? And are they going to trust you with a longer time frame? That's all I want to say.
All right. And finally, onto our quote of the week. And this is from a newsletter that I get. But I thought it was really, really good, Craig. It's from David Ogilvy on satisfying the pursuit of excellence. And he says, I have no ambition to preside over a vast bureaucracy. That is why we have only 19 clients. The pursuit of excellence is less profitable than the pursuit of bigness, but it can be more satisfying. And I think when I thought about that, I was thinking, that's very interesting in terms of what we've done this year. And I think even you have as a business. And I think, yes, we want to work with great businesses and do great work. That's really what we're about, and impact the people that we can impact. And doing so, we get satisfied and we also satisfy the people that we work with. So, yeah.
It's interesting you said the pursuit of excellence is less profitable than the pursuit of bigness. I wonder if that's the case. Maybe less revenue, but is it less profitable? Often excellence comes at a premium price and is far more profitable. So I wonder what his context was there, but certainly I agree with the second part, more satisfying.
Yeah. All right. And finally, sorry, I said finally before, but here's our training of the week, Craig.
Yeah, just calling back to the start, we're going to launch a community in 2025. So I'm very hesitant about this whole idea of community. I kind of think it gets overtalked and everyone seems to have a community these days. What's it mean for us? Well, we have created a community on School, which is SKOOL. It's kind of a new platform. All the cool kids seem to be there, Ian. It's either Circle or Teachable or School these days.
Correct.
Anyway, or Kajabi, there's others. Anyway, we're building it out on School. We've just got a small private community at the moment while we flesh it out. Now, what are we going to put in there? It's not going to be lots of forums and discussions. I think that's well catered for already on Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups. But it's going to be a smaller set of HubSpot users, and we have a number of courses. And these are courses that are very specific around real-world use cases. So it's not trying to compete with HubSpot Academy, which kind of covers anything and everything. It's going to be very specific courses about very specific areas. For example, building a campaign from start to finish in HubSpot guides you through every single step and how to do it, and real-world based on our portals. So no demo portals, no demo stuff. It's real stuff. You'll see real results. And there is kind of a questionnaire or discussion area where you can talk about real stuff. So we're building that. I'm not big on community in the sense of always being on there chatting with people and lots of relationships and the kind of stuff, but I am big on kind of creating content that is helpful around real world stuff. And I know you are the same, Ian. So we're currently building that out. If you want to join the waitlist, we won't be letting anyone in till February. Just got a small number of users. Now, who's a good fit for this? And then I'll tell you why you'd want to join now or join the waitlist now. This is a good fit if you're a HubSpot user, hands-on, in a medium to large size business. Maybe you're part of the marketing team, you're part of the sales team, customer success team. You are using HubSpot and you're hands-on daily. This is probably not really safe for the marketing manager or head of marketing who's never in HubSpot except to check a report and is not hands-on. I think that's catered for in other areas. We might grow to that. But at the moment, this is for the people that are hands-on. They've just got the real-world problems. These are the people that just want to get stuff done. People like the clients we work with. So we're just making it so that it's us a bit more scalable, a bit more available to people. Anyway, why would you want to join? Here's kind of where I do the sales pitch. It's not really. But at the moment, until we build it out, there'll be no charge, but this will be a paid premium community. We're not after thousands of people. We're after maybe 50 to 100 over time. Join the wait list. You just go to the link and click join. We won't let you in yet, but we will get your note that you want to join. And then in February, we'll be letting people in. We want it to be useful to people. We don't want kind of hundreds of people coming in and just lots of noise. Yeah, so it'll be very tailored. But yeah, if you join, we won't be charging you. So later when we do switch to premium pricing, people that join after that will be paying. So that's it. I feel quite quietly confident about this. And I know you and I, we've kind of been chatting about some of the areas we're going to dive into, very specific areas that we see in the work we do with our clients, the real world cases. Did you want to mention anything about this, Ian?
No, I was going to say I've kind of resisted and hesitated for a long time. So I think this will be an interesting journey for all of us. And I think, I think one thing that's been highlighted to me, Craig, is that we want, and I think this has been over the 9 years we've been recording this podcast, is building great relationships with really good people that stand the test of time. And I think that's what I want our community to be, is to be great people building great things and making a difference in this world. All right. So if you haven't already downloaded the HubShots Framework, the right version, now that Craig has fixed the link, do so. And go, this is a perfect time of the year to go through it. As you start a new year, get it, download it. There is a little section at the bottom that says, what do you want to focus on for the next quarter? Have 3 things you want to focus on. I think the worst thing you can do is have no focus and no direction with what you're doing, and use this as a guide to maximize your use of HubSpot. And if you've got any questions, again, connect with us, connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with Craig on LinkedIn, and just ask us. We're always happy to help those gladly listen to us. And we hope you have a great holiday. Well, Craig, until next time.
Catch you later, Ian.